Welcome to our cross-battery assessment information video. Today we are going to discuss what cross-battery assessment is and prepare you as a teacher to be able to answer any questions that you may be asked by parents or other teachers. First off, what is it? Cross-battery assessment, or the XBA approach, is a method of assessing cognitive and academic abilities and neuropsychological processes that is grounded in the CHC theory, which will be discussed later, and research in neuropsychological theory and research. It allows practitioners to measure a wider range, or a more in-depth but selective range, of ability and processing constructs than that represented by any given standalone assessment battery in a reliable and valid manner. The XBA is based on 4 fundamental sources of information that together provide the knowledge base necessary to organize a theory-driven, comprehensive assessment of cognitive, academic, and neuropsychological constructs. These foundations are: the XBA approach rests in part on CHC theory, the broad and narrow CHC ability classifications of all subtests that comprise current cognitive achievement and selected neuropsychological batteries. The 4th foundational source of information underlying the XBA approach, relations among cognitive abilities, neuropsychological processes, and academic skills.
Now, what can it do? It provides a means to make systematic, reliable, and theory-based interpretations of any ability battery and to augment that battery with cognitive, achievement, and neuropsychological subtests from other batteries to gain a more psychometrically defensible and complete understanding of an individual's patterns of strengths and weaknesses. Is it better than a single battery assessment? Well, because it moves beyond the boundaries of a single cognitive achievement or neuropsychological battery by adopting the rigorous, theoretical, and psychometric XBA principles and procedures, represents a significant improvement over single battery assessment because it allows practitioners to focus on accurate and valid measures of the cognitive constructs and neurodevelopmental functions that are most germane to the referral concerns.
Now, if you have a student who may be given a cross-battery assessment, the following is information on the background of this assessment. What theory is cross-battery assessment based on? Well, it's based on the Cattle-Horn-Carroll, or CHC theory. The CHC theory is an integration of Cattle and Horn's GF through GC theory and Carroll's 3-stratum theory of the structure of cognitive abilities. The CHC theory provides the people giving the assessments, in our case the school psychologist, with the means to make systematic, reliable, and theory-based interpretations of any ability battery and to make the battery better with cognitive, achievement, and neuropsychological subtests from other batteries to gain a more psychometrically defensible and complete understanding of the student's patterns of strengths and weaknesses. According to the creators of CHC theory, the similarities of human cognitive abilities appears to prescribe that individuals should be assessed with respect to their total range of abilities. This approach clearly spells out how practitioners can conduct assessments that encompass the total range of the cognitive and academic abilities and neuropsychological processes more adequately than what is possible with any other collection of co-normed tests. According to Carroll, one of the creators of CHC theory, it can be used to develop the most appropriate information about an individual in a given testing situation. The approach is based on sound assessment principles, adds theory to psychometrics, and improves the quality of the assessment and interpretation of cognitive abilities and processes.
The guiding principles of XBA that the diagnostician or the school psychologist will follow are the following. In order to ensure that XBA procedures are theoretically and psychometrically sound, it is recommended that practitioners adhere to several guiding principles. The first one is selecting a comprehensive ability battery as your core battery in the assessment. 2. Use norm-based clusters and composites to form a single battery whenever possible to represent the broad CHC abilities. When constructing CHC broad and narrow ability clusters, select tests that have been classified through an empirically acceptable method, such as through CHC theory-driven within, or preferably cross-battery factor analysis or expert consensus content validity studies. When at least 2 qualitatively different indicators of a broad ability of interest are not available on the core battery, supplement the core battery with at least 2 qualitatively different indicators of the broad ability from another battery. When crossing batteries or augmenting a core battery with irrelevant CHC composites from another battery, or when constructing CHC broad or narrow ability composites using tests from different batteries, select tests that were developed and normed within a few years of one another to minimize the effect of spurious differences between test scores that may be attributable to the Flynn effect. Select tests from the smallest number of batteries to minimize the effect of spurious differences between test scores that may be attributable to differences in the characteristics of independent norm samples. And finally, establish ecological validity for any and all test performances that are suggestive of normative weaknesses or deficits.
Now that the principles have been covered, here are the 5 steps that the diagnostician or school psychologist will do to implement the XBA approach, step by step. There are 5 general steps that should be followed when conducting XBAs. Number 1, select an ability battery. Select one that is appropriate and responsive to several factors, including age, developmental level of the examinee, acculturative experiences and background, developmental English language proficiency of the examinee, and the specific referral concerns, and so forth. Identify the CHC broad ability that are and are not measured by the selected battery. The third one, identify the CHC narrow abilities that are and are not measured by the selected battery. The fourth one, administer and score selected battery and supplemental tests. There are no unique administration or scoring instructions associated with XBAs to be followed apart from those already specified by the test publishers. Fifth, enter scores into the cross-battery assessment data management and interpretive assistant.
Now the following are some strengths and weaknesses of cross-battery assessment. We'll start with the strengths. The contemporary theory. Cross-battery assessment is founded on the most empirically supported and well-validated theory of the structure of cognitive abilities, namely CHC theory. Cross-battery assessment has the advantage of being current and in line with the best available scientific evidence for the structure of cognitive abilities and can remain so as new research might inform future changes in our understanding of cognitive functioning. With the recent convergence of test batteries on CHC theory means that it will be easier to find instruments that provide the requisite level of theoretical adherence. Communication. The classification system used by XBA has had a positive impact on the communication among practitioners. It has improved research on the relations between cognitive and academic abilities and has resulted in substantial improvements in the measurement of cognitive constructs. Another strength is psychometrically defensible cross-battery composites. The composites that are derived according to XBA methods are now calculated using subtest reliabilities and subtest intercorrelations and are nearly identical to the composites delivered using actual test norms. The scores are derived in a manner that is consistent with those from the test authors and publishers. Another strength is an enhancement in evaluation of specific learning disabilities in individuals from culturally and linguistically diverse backgrounds. Its flexibility is another strength, and it is able to respond to the particular referral concerns and practitioner needs in an assessment. Its automation, when using a specific program, replaces the need for manual calculations that were previously required. Now, it does have a few weaknesses. Its norm samples. XBA has a lack of a norm sample. It is complicated. It tends to be more complicated than traditional methods of assessment interpretation. And finally, it's fairly time-consuming.
Now we have some background into cross-battery assessment, and you can answer questions you may be asked by the parents of your students. Let's see how it affects you as the teacher.
Basically, if the professional that is giving the assessment to a student in your class is using cross-battery assessment or more than one form of testing, they are likely to yield better results on of the student's cognitive and academic abilities. This affects your classroom and teaching styles because with these results, you will have a better understanding of how that student thinks and reacts to situations. This will in turn help both the practitioner, the parents, and yourself create and implement the right interventions in class and at home, which benefits the student and in turn makes your classroom and instruction run more smoothly.
Thanks for sticking with us.